We begin with scenes of Earth having been devastated by a nuclear war after the never-ending struggle between magic and technology takes a turn for the worse. It has taken 2 million years for the radioactive clouds to let the sunlight in finally. By then, only a handful of humans had survived the terrifying onslaught that wiped out millions, turning them into hideous creatures after constant exposure to the radiation. These mutant species floundered around in densely irradiated areas. Meanwhile, the other species, fairies, elves, and even dwarves, that did survive came out of hiding after their long sleep in the dark and lived peacefully in the idyllic land of Montagar. In Montagar, the fairies hold a big feast to celebrate 3,000 years of peace, presided over by the Queen of the Fairies, Delia. She suddenly felt a change in the air and saw dark clouds gathering in every direction. Delia quickly ran to her house on the hill, and the others were puzzled by her sudden behavior. Drawn by curiosity, they quickly followed her when the storm suddenly worsened and became a raging cyclone. Then, one of the older fairies brazenly ventured inside, where he found Delia giving birth to a pair of twins she held in her arms. He quickly knew that these were not ordinary twins, but magical wizards. The good wizard, Avatar, spent much time entertaining his mother with his magic. In contrast, the evil mutant wizard, Black Wolf, would never visit his mother and would spend his time torturing small, defenseless animals. It didn't take long for Delia's condition to worsen, and she eventually succumbs to it. With one child in mourning, the other, Black Wolf, was excited and thrilled at the chance to take over her leadership and finally rule the lands. Avatar confronted Black Wolf, and the two engaged in a furious battle between siblings. Pitting magic against each other, Avatar eventually overwhelms and defeats Black Wolf. Black Wolf left the dwelling, but not before promising to one day return and rule the lands. 3,000 years later, Black Wolf ruled the dark lands of Scorch, which he and his mutant army, orcs, trolls, goblins, dragons, and satyrs, call home. He claims it is time and sends out his assassins to do his bidding. Necron 99 is a Black Wolf assassin, traveling the lands on a mission to destroy believers of magic. He later finds a dwelling of dwarves telling their young that the only technology they believe in is nature, after how ancient dictators used it to enslave the masses. He remains unfazed even after wiping out an entire clan. At night, Necron shoots at elven scouts returning from their reconnaissance. He ferociously chases after Weehawk, the elf that got away, but he shoots down Necron's horse and escapes. Checking the area, Necron finds the runaway elf, but he quickly gives himself away. Weehawk quickly lunged at him, and they both fell off the cliff. In Montagar, Avatar grows impatient after his scouts fail to return on time. The president's daughter, Eleanor, worries that something must have happened. The president is wary of the threat and suggests arming the state, but Avatar explains how science and technology have been outlawed millions of years ago. He believes it was the best decision since they've had 1,000 years of peace. The president demanded to know what was happening, even threatening to banish Avatar. Eleanor suggests that she is otherwise worried that no one will help her train to become a full-fledged fairy. That said, Avatar explains the horrific truth about how the world came to be. He claims that in search of his brother, he finds him in Scorch, where he continues his studies in the black arts. He then created an army of frog-like creatures, but when it wasn't enough, he called upon evil generals from the black shadows of hell. He enslaved them to do his will, leading his armies to attack neighboring countries. Fortunately, his army quickly grew bored, sidetracked, and gave up, running back home with their tails behind their legs. They could have easily won, but they lacked the motivation and inspiration. With word of their defeat, Black Wolf sent his army to excavate ancient ruins of the past in search of technology. With bits and pieces of pre-Holocaust technology, Black Wolf's men successfully built war machines. Worried that Black Wolf had unearthed more ancient technology, Avatar sent his elf spies to check on them. During the conversation, Necron sneaks up on them and kills the president, much to Eleanor's dismay. Avatar quickly used his magic and restrained Black Wolf's assassin, but not before reporting back to Black Wolf about the president's death. Black Wolf claims that the free states would soon fall to their demise without the president. Black Wolf decides it is time to strike and prepares his army to go out. Having gathered everyone, Black Wolf uses a projector to play a recording of Hitler's fascist regime and how it turned the entire world into a battlefield, all to create a world of his so-called master race. After hearing word of Black Wolf's army marching into their lands, Elfin and Fairyland have come together as allies to stand up to their enemies. When they hear the army's drums over the horizon, the Elder Elfie tells them not to worry. He claims Black Wolf's army quickly runs away when the battle gets intense. With the enemy fast approaching, the elves arm themselves and prepare to shoot their arrows when Black Wolf projects the video on the battlefield, distracting them. They were caught off guard and Black Wolf's men wiped them all out. At Scorch, it turns out that Black Wolf is having a child and asks his wise men if his child would be human or mutant. When he discovers it to be a mutant, he orders it to be killed, much to the mother's strong objections. When she refuses to rule the planet, Black Wolf gets furious, demanding more than just living in the Badlands, content with living in irradiated lands where death looms over them. He insists on having a human heir and claims they will soon live in the good lands, leading better lives. In Montagar, Avatar discovers from Necron's body that Black Wolf's trump card is a dream machine that inspires his armies with ancient war images and distracts his opponents. He explains how it must be destroyed but claims that he is too old to fight a war and asks them to wake him up when it is over. Weehawk claims that he is still young and ready to fight, while Eleanor insists on going to avenge her father. Avatar claims that Necron 99, later renamed Peace, will lead them to the machine. As they embark on an adventure into enemy lands, Eleanor and Weehawk say goodbye to their family, hoping to stop this war. They later notice Peace is leading them to the Mountain Fairies' domain, to which Weehawk worries about the long-standing rivalry between the two species. Avatar claims that much time has passed, and the rivalry must have already subsided. Weehawk gets uncomfortable, worried that the fairies would only prank them, but Avatar claims they may have the information they need. Like Weehawk said, the fairies fly Eleanor and Avatar to the top of the tree while Weehawk is left chasing a fairy who turned into a giant rat. Meanwhile, Peace reconnects with his fellow mutants and picks up the gun that Avatar dropped. Avatar gets furious at their poor hospitality and conjures powerful magic to summon a great cyclone. The fairies grow scared and offer a feast in their name as an apology for pranking them. They are quickly greeted by Sean, the leader of the Stardust Knights and protectors of the Fairy King, Dolan. Suddenly, a mysterious assailant kills Sean, and during the panic, which they assume to be Peace, the fairies take Eleanor to the Fairy Sanctuary. Avatar worries entering the sanctuary as it is known to be forbidden under normal circumstances. As they quickly ventured into the sanctuary, Weehawk fell into a chasm when his footing crumbled. He urged Avatar to find Eleanor while he finds his way to them quickly. Weehawk finds himself in a mist-laden trap when a monster suddenly pounces on him. Peace comes to his rescue and shoots the creature, but he also falls prey to the creature's toxins and almost falls into a ravine. Weehawk grabs him before he falls over, and they both fall unconscious. Eleanor is brought before the Fairy King, and they hold her accountable for bringing technology and death to their mountains. The fairies start to riot, demanding justice for Sean's death. While struggling to break free, Eleanor accidentally uses her powers to share her pain. When that isn't enough to make them free her, she accidentally brings a statue to life, and it starts attacking the fairies. She demands it to stop when Avatar suddenly shows up. Avatar pleads to the Fairy King, explaining that they are on a mission to prevent yet another holocaust that once ravaged the planet. He claims that Sean was killed by Black Wolf's assassins, who were sent to kill them too. While trying to make his case, a vision of Black Wolf appears out of nowhere, and Avatar is shot with an arrow. Despite being misguided, the Fairy King was impressed at Avatar's restraint in fighting back and passed his judgment. They will neither help, join, nor hinder them in their mission. With that said, the Fairy King teleports them outside of the sanctuary to a snowy mountaintop. After a long walk down the snowy Alps, Avatar realizes they have been walking in circles. Eleanor alerts him that riders are headed their way, to which Avatar urges her to run. But she insists on fighting back. When the riders slowly approach them, Eleanor tries to cut off her assailant when she discovers it is Weehawk and Peace who have been looking for them since. Avatar falls unconscious, relieved to find that they have been saved. While resting in a nearby cave, Avatar discussed their route to Scorch with Peace. Their journey took them past ruins of ancient civilization, where strange beasts lurked about. All the mutants have left to join Black Wolf's army, leaving behind their wives, who showed hostility to the group as they passed by. As the group reach the desert, they suddenly realize they are being surrounded, and Eleanor taken hostage. Their leader quickly jumps in glee after realizing it is the legendary Avatar whose reputation precedes him. The elf general Abdul explains how they have been camping in the desert away from prying eyes, waiting for their chance to attack Scorch. They ambushed a wolf patrol and took away their weapons, which they would use to launch an invasion on the unprotected Scorch to defeat Black Wolf. When Avatar learns about the attack, he punches Abdul, much to everyone's shock. Abdul tells his men not to lay their hands on Avatar, the Messiah who strode the planet thousands of years ago, curing radiation sickness from everyone he meets. He explains how Avatar was with his father during the first mutant attack. At night, Black Wolf's demon tried to take Peace back, but Avatar woke up in time to stop it from happening. When he asked what happened, Eleanor explained how she saw Peace, who seemed distraught, so she tried to calm him down. Avatar claims that Peace is in a constant mental battle with Black Wolf, and with her distracting Peace, Black Wolf takes the chance to take him back. Suddenly, they are under heavy fire from an enemy battle tank. Peace shoots it down and is about to force the enemy to surrender, but Avatar shouts for him to jump when Eleanor throws the sword and kills him. She then jumps into the enemy tank and runs away, much to Avatar's dismay. Following Eleanor's betrayal, Avatar seemed out of it, much to Weehawk's worry. When they approach its ports, Weehawk urges Avatar to go on foot and complete their mission, to which he agrees. When they walk into town, they find good people held captive by Black Wolf's men and forced to do their bidding. They try to sneak past the guards, but Avatar is still not himself. He walks up to them, trying to impress them with his magic. Black Wolf's lizard Larry recognizes Avatar and urges the guard to kill him. Weehawk kills them before they realize who they are, but Larry sneaks up behind him and injures Weehawk before running back to report it to his master. Abdul leads his men to attack Scorch in a battle against Black Wolf's men, while Avatar and Weehawk sneak into the castle. The enemy continues to use the video footage to distract the opposing forces while they catch them off guard. Seeing him in person, Weehawk claims that Avatar doesn't stand a chance against Black Wolf, but still insists on fighting his brother. He tells Weehawk to destroy the projector and find Eleanor. When he is about to kill her, Black Wolf's wife stops him and tells him to think. Eleanor explains that when she touched Peace, Black Wolf's mind controlled her. Avatar confronts Black Wolf and admits that he might not be as strong as him, but he tricks him into lowering his guard. When he tells him that their mother taught him a spell, he pulls out a gun on him and shoots him in the chest. With Black Wolf dead, his castle starts to collapse, and they escape, telling Avatar that Eleanor did not betray them. With their leader slain, Black Wolf's men froze in their tracks while the demons returned to hell. The mutants ran for their lives, but the elves swept the beaches clear of the remaining mutants still fighting. With Black Wolf dead, the world is finally free as the elves and its allies rejoice to celebrate their hard-earned victory. When they are ready to ride home, Avatar tells Weehawk to ride back to Montagar and become their ruler while he and Eleanor start a new kingdom elsewhere. If you made it to the end of the video, please comment what you thought about this recap. Also, don't forget to check out these other videos and make sure to subscribe and tap the bell to be notified about our latest videos. See you soon!